What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Peter-Patzer rating climb, where I take a low-rated account, work my way up, explain the thought process along the way. So whatever rating range you're at, you can learn something. If you're lower rated, go back and watch the previous episodes. If you're higher rated, just wait till we get to your level, or just watch wherever you're at. Even if you don't have the exact same rating, it's okay. So against G3, I'm going to show you guys a nice little setup, and I've mentioned this before in the rating climb, but we'll do it again here. First thing you want to do is get 2 pawns in the center. Okay, they're going to double Fianchetto, which is a little bit unusual. Usually people who play this are going to go for like D3 and Knight F3 and do like a King's Indian setup. But, you know, they can do whatever they want, obviously. So the setup that we're going to do is Knight C6. Ooh, wow, that is not a move that I was expecting. So a lot of the times what I like to do against this is actually just take the bishop. And the reason for that is it puts the knight, first of all, on an awkward square. Knights on the rim or grim or dim, depending on how you heard it. It doesn't have a lot of options. And it's actually, in some cases, a target for our queen, which opens up tactical ideas from time to time. Okay? So we're just going to leave that there. Let's put the bishop on E6, and I'll still kind of go for the same setup that I was going to... okay, I'm glad this is happening, because this is an important point in chess. I'm trying to show you guys a setup. And my setup was going to be, you know, putting my pawn here and putting my queen here and developing and then, you know, doing this when they castle. My opponent is not doing what you would expect them to do with the King's Indian setup. They're doing some random stuff, bringing out the bishop over here. Now they're playing C4. Like, if this happens when you're playing, it's almost always better to react to your opponent's, let's just say, mistakes, right? If they're playing weird stuff, you want to figure out, okay, why is this weird? And how can I take advantage of this, right? And so I'm going to be changing my plan since they're just not doing the normal stuff. And that's okay. And actually, that's a good thing. A lot of the times people get into trouble in chess because they get stuck on a plan and they don't realize the time to like change up what they're doing, okay? So, all right. First of all, if we take, it looks like it might just bring that knight into the game. It's not doing much. So I don't think we want to take. There's 2 attackers, 2 defenders. So I'm okay right now. But I think I'd like another defender here. And I was going to go, like I said, go for F6 and probably do a pawn storm and attack the king, but they haven't even castled. I don't even know if they're going to castle. So I'm going to change it up and play knight F6. I'm abandoning my plan and just reacting to what the opponent is doing. Okay, this is attack, but it's also defended. Sometimes they like to come in here and get this bishop. I don't really care. I'm going to prioritize quick development, so I think I'm just going to castle. Get the king out of the center right away. And we'll see what they're going to do if they're going to castle. Yeah, they do castle. Okay. So let's think about this. What are my options? Well, whenever there's a knight here and they don't have a pawn on D3 to capture you, you do want to consider, like, what if you just chase the knight away? Now, in this case, it looks like it can go to G5 and be kind of annoying. So I am considering H6 because then the knight would really not have a lot of options. The other thing you could do is go there. After they do this, then actually just move the bishop away. Let's just say bishop F5, and then I'm threatening to chase the knight again, and it's still kind of out of options. You know what? I think I am going to do that. So we're going to try to take advantage of the fact that white has not stopped us from playing E4, okay? And I'm going to try to do this. Ooh, they just immediately go to an awkward square. Okay, I'm happy to see that. Why am I happy to see that? Well, they're clogging up their pieces. The knight's on the back. He can't even really move. Both of these knights are very misplaced. So it's a small thing, but you take a couple of small things, put it all together, it should be an advantage for me, right? So let's think about this. Option 1, we could push here and really get these annoying pawns. I'd like to get my rooks involved, though, as quickly as I can. So maybe queen D7 and rook comes over. Queen E7 would hit that knight. That would buy me a free move, essentially. They could move, and I could just chase it again. It could go back. I could chase it again. And they take here. We're not quite defended enough. Interesting. Queen D7, if I want to go try to attack the king, this would be a way to do it, get rid of the bishop. So lots of options. Yeah, I mean, I think I really do like pushing this, though. It's just so much space for us. It doesn't allow this knight to come into the game, like if they trade and come in. And even here, I'm thinking maybe I push again and just really clamp down on the position. The alternative would be something like bishop F5 takes, jump in with the knight. That also looks pretty good. And then we could get the rook on the open file. Let's see. Push takes, takes. Could I make use of this position? My knight could jump in, go to f2. This knight or the queen could jump here. Yeah, that might actually be pretty good too. It does open up the bishop a little bit though. So maybe bishop f5 and even just trying to trade off that bishop would make more sense. I don't know. I'm going to go bishop f5. Probably e3 is okay too. We can check after the game what Stockfish says. But as a general rule, when they fianchetto the bishop, if you can trade off that bishop, it's gonna leave weaknesses around the king. So I would rather do that than take with my knight and just leave the bishop just sitting there. It's kind of annoying. It keeps the king well defended. Now we've got these weaknesses we can work with. Okay, so they're attacking this, but it's defended 2 times, so I don't have to worry. They could be thinking of bringing the knight here or here and attacking it. So I do want to kind of plan ahead for that. I think I see a nice target on e2. So yeah, let's actually go ahead and set that up by playing rook e8. Do you guys see what I'm doing? I'm lining up here, making a threat of knight c3. And they are sort of stopping it and attacking. That's actually maybe a good move. Let's think about this. If we go here and they take, I could then jump in. They move, I take. Wow, we actually have a beautiful tactic there, which I will attempt to set up. So this tactic, I think it's actually pretty common. And the way that it works is, let's set it up and then I'll explain. They're going to move their queen like here or here probably. The way that it works is when you have a fork pattern, okay? So like there's a knight, which could go here and fork some pieces, but if I just do it right now, they probably would just take me. Actually, they can't even take me because of the pin. So then I could actually do it right away. But the way I was going to initially do it was take here. And both of my knights are kind of defended because like if the queen takes, I could still go for a fork. So they would have to take. Then I could sack my queen here, luring their queen, and then this knight would kind of come in and finish off the job. So I'm going to do it that way. I think that's a little bit cooler and also probably forces some more trades. So we take here. Like I said, they can't take this way because we just get the fork. If they take this way with the queen, we also just get the fork. So the only option for them is to take with the knight, right? But then we sacrifice our queen, which defends our knight. So the only thing for them to do is to take us. And then, like I said, the final fork comes in. Yep, here we go. This is going to be a brilliant move on chess.com, game review. The final fork comes in. And when the dust settles, we have the extra knight, right? And so there you go. So very common one. It's kind of a tricky one to see. Like a lot of people will miss this one if you're not looking for it. But you have to recognize, like here, you have to recognize that there is this fork pattern where if you sack everything, right? I'm just envisioning in my mind, for example, after yeah, like right here, I'm just envisioning in my mind, okay, there's 2 defenders, 2 attackers, so I'll lose that battle. He'll have a queen at the end, but there's the final fork and I win. That's kind of how you want to think about it. Okay, so now we have this end game. The only real risk is that we lose on time, and so let's just try to pick up the pace a little bit. A knight at the end is really powerful if it can be supported by a pawn on an outpost. This is an outpost because no pawns can attack my knight. So rather than moving it away, doing something else, just defend it. Nothing for the rest of the game can make this knight move unless they're going to sacrifice the rook. Or if they can undermine this pawn somehow, but then I could always just defend, right? So this is an extremely powerful knight. Let's put a rook on the second rank, also a very good place for rooks. And then I'm going to double up next move here to make sure I gain and maintain control of this file. And so you notice how there's 2 open files on the board, right? 2 files without pawns. I've shut down one of them with my knight. Now I've taken control of the other one with my rooks. Okay, and so white has no way to infiltrate the position because of how I have my knight and rooks set up. Okay. Let's not get checkmated. So let's play h5. So our king has no problems on the back rank. Also, it kind of creates what's called a potential mating net around this king. I'll play f5, just clamping down on the square to make sure that white's never going to be able to come out this way. And yeah, in fact, we might, let me think about this. Do we have some sort of checkmate idea? Well, let's try to set it up. We're going to try to get 2 rooks on the second, and that'll be checkmate over here. Of course, they can go here and trade, but I'm happy to trade because I'm ahead. Okay, they're trying to break free here. This might be the moment. Yeah, I actually think I see relatively forced checkmate. They don't have to take me back, but even if they don't, it's going to be really bad for them. So, okay, here's how I'm envisioning this. The rook is cutting off this. If I could get another rook here, it's almost like a ladder checkmate, right? So what's the way to accomplish that? We just take. We just take, and when they take back, there it is. See that? And the only thing they could do would be to block. So yeah, they just fell right for it. Here we go. Checkmate is next move. So that's what I was saying with h5 and f5, like clamping down on this king's position. It makes what's called a mating net, where you just trap the king. If I hadn't played h5 here, they could have kind of come here and come up here and come up here, or maybe run this way. Like it becomes harder to checkmate the king. Okay, so yeah, we did get a brilliant move. Let me show you the game review. Okay, so yeah, the brilliant move was probably that tactic that I mentioned. Let's take a look and see if that's true. Let me update the win counter quickly. Okay, yeah, so there you go, brilliant move. So this tactic, it comes up a lot. It comes up a lot. So I highly recommend pay attention. Make sure you understand how I recognized it so that you guys can recognize it in your games, okay? And remember, just to recap, when I see that I can come in and attack a square that is putting the king in check and also controlling some other square where there's likely to be a lot of trades, right? That's how you want to think about it. Like, this is like a key square where, like, there's a lot of stuff happening. We might start trading, you know. But the knight can jump in and fork whatever is going to happen there. Even if it initially looks like, okay, 2 defenders, 2 attackers, yeah, they have enough pieces defending. No, they don't. Because remember, even if you have to sacrifice your queen for a knight, as long as you can set up this final position, the beauty of it is that you get the piece for free. And you're up the knight, right? Or whatever, you know, you happen to take. It could have been a rook, you know. So, all right, I think that makes sense. Let me just see quickly, what did Stockfish say in that position? Let's see. Yeah, it likes my move the best. It does like bishop f5 the best. Probably because after this, now this bishop's kind of annoying, and the knight that was like really stuck actually just gets to come right back out. And sometimes those super far advanced pawns can even become weaknesses, for example, and then now you have to worry about defending it. So, okay, so yeah, Stockfish said that the move I played, bishop f5, was actually the way to go. And trading off this bishop was pretty smart too. Okay. All right, here we go. Let's go to the next game, playing with white. So, I'm going to try to play a Ponziani. I'm working on a Ponziani opening course. I actually have a couple courses in the pipeline, which are going to be released soon. Okay, well, we can't play the Ponziani against this, so I'll save that lecture for another video. What I like to play against the Caro-Kann is the von Henning Gambit, which I'm sure you guys have seen if you've watched me for any amount of time. And it's extremely aggressive, lots of tricks and traps. And so we're going to start with bishop c4, just lining up on that diagonal. There's 2 ways for black to play. Yeah, this is the best way. They can also play very passively and block that off immediately and trap their bishop. But this is probably a little bit better to get the bishop out first. They can accept the pawn. They can decline the pawn by pushing. They can defend with the bishop, or they can play the super passive, you know, there. Okay, so they go with this one. So let's take it. And now there's 2 ways, when they take back with the knight, there's 2 ways to play. At this level, at the 1200 level, I'm going to recommend the move queen f3. I think you're going to win a lot of games this way. So let's play queen f3. Against stronger players, I think knight f3 is a little bit better. But queen f3 is extremely tricky. We're giving them this pawn if they want it. We're letting them trade here if they want it. We're attacking 2 things. And more importantly, and this is the tricky part, we're setting up some tactics on f7 that a lot of people do not notice. Okay, and I would not be surprised if they make a blunder right here in this moment. Now, the best move is knight d6. So if they know what's going on, or if they're able to figure it out, or if they've studied this, they will play knight d6. Okay, that's not the best move. That's a mistake. So this is a great moment for you guys to pause, try to figure out how do we make use of the tactics in our favor in this position. All right, if you had a chance to pause and think about that. So here's what I'm thinking. I'm just going to think out loud so you guys can understand. So the first thing that comes to my mind is there's a bishop lined up on the weak spot. We should consider what happens if we sacrifice it. They take me. And if they don't take me and they move, well, fine. I mean, we got a free pawn. We made their king move into line here. I'll probably move my bishop and try to think about pinning that or something. If they take me, I'm going to take the bishop with check. And it's a fork on the king and the knight. They move their king and I either checkmate them, or if they move here, I probably just take the knight, right? There's one problem with my logic, and that's that the knight can actually go back, save itself, and block the check. Now, that position's probably fine for me, honestly, because I can play knight f3, hit the queen. The queen has to move. Then I can jump in with my knight, attack the king. That looks pretty amazing. However, there's also one other way that we could think about this, which is instead of sacking the bishop first, we could take here with the queen, threatening to now take that and also threatening the knight. However, oh, and by the way, also threatening to come in here with a very annoying check. However, I'm noticing they can play knight to d6, which would actually attack my queen, defend the checkmate, save the knight, and stop the queen from going there all at the same time. Right? Which is pretty incredible, and I think it's actually a great move for them. Now, that being said, there's one detail that I just left out. I'm getting a piece. So I'm winning a piece, and if they go there, yeah, they kind of save everything, but I'm up a piece. However, I have to move my queen, and my bishop might get captured next move. So let's think about that. Where can I move my queen to? Let's say here. Yeah, then they're just going to take my bishop and actually get their piece back, and I'm going to be down like 2 pawns or something. So the point that I'm trying to make is when you're in these positions that are very tricky, you want to make sure you're calculating carefully. Check each option, because sometimes you might miss the best option, or if you miss a key detail, you know, like you might have thought, oh yeah, queen takes f5, winning. I have this, I have this, I have this, triple fork, all right. You have to look at every detail, and that looks like it doesn't work out. So having said that, let's go with the first line, bishop takes f7, because that seems to be the one that works out better in most of the cases, all right? So I think they will take, and then we will take check, and then they have to play knight f6, and then, like I said, the knight's coming out, and we're going to keep attacking. And again, I've said this many times, the reason this is so powerful for us, they lose castling rights. Right? Castling is a very good move. Gets the king immediately out of the center to safety. It immediately brings a rook into the attack usually. We can castle and they can't. That's a big deal, right? Okay, so I guess they're thinking about maybe not taking it. If they don't take it, they move here. Oh, well, there you go. Well, option one, we could still take the bishop, and we're up a piece. Option two is, what if I do something like this? And of course, I'm attacking the queen, but I'm also setting up to castle, or maybe just bring my rook over and pin here. So if I did that, the first thing that I want to identify is, do they have any forcing moves that could cause me problems? Any checks or captures that I need to worry about? I don't see any good checks for them. Captures, I mean, they're not going to take here with the queen. They're not going to take there. I don't really see any good captures. So I think they would have to move their queen, as far as I can tell. Okay. Where do they move it to? Well, anywhere that they stay on this file, like let's just say queen d7. I think I just play rook d1, pinning it. I guess they do have knight d6, but I just really feel like, I don't know, my position's pretty good. If they go anywhere else, I'm still going to go check. Oh, I'm also threatening just to take the bishop in that situation. So queen d7 would be the only place that kind of defends that. Also, look at this. I'm just noticing something else. This knight, I could just take. If they do go to queen d7, I could just take, and I win a piece that way. So I really don't see how they're going to defend all this stuff at the same time. Now, that being said, I also could just take the bishop right away. Then they have knight d6, which is a fork. I can just move my queen somewhere. Yeah, so, okay. both lines look pretty good, but this line with the bishop e3 seems like it gets more pieces into the game faster. That's going to be better almost every time. Okay, if you can get more pieces into the game faster, like now there's a bishop playing a role, now there's a rook playing a role, that's going to be better almost every time. So now let's think, right? Because yes, I can go here. They do have knight d6, which kind of defends, stops the pin, defends their bishop. Still looks like a great position for me because I could just attack that piece. I'm still threatening here, and it looks really good. But I also could just take the knight right now. Just win the piece right now. And then I'm still threatening rook d1, and they don't have the piece to defend. Okay? So you guys see how I'm calculating this? So let's just take here. But like I said, when we played queen f3, very tricky. And if they don't know or aren't able to see that knight d6 is the only good move, they're going to fall for one of these traps. And that's what happened here. They fell for this trap. Now we're just up a piece. Okay, they're trying to trap my bishop here. What should I do? All right, if you had a chance to look at that, hopefully you remembered. We were setting up this threat. And last time they blocked with the knight, they don't have a knight to block. Bishop, well, we've got that covered. And so they can't take us if their queen is pinned. So we're going to go here and win the queen. We can't castle because we can't castle through check, but that's fine. We don't need to castle. We can just slide the rook over. And completely winning, this game is basically over now. We'll see if black decides to resign or play on. Okay, so they decide to go there. But like I said, just take it. It's still pinned. It's still defended. Oh no, what if they take my knight and then take my rook? Uh-oh. Hopefully you noticed this is check, right? This is check. So if they were to have taken me, I was going to take with check, and then I simply take that back. So we were fine. They decided to do this instead. Of course, we just take the queen, and we're up like a million pieces. Since we're up so much, I'm just going to go for a simple trade. Take a bishop, lose a bishop, okay, lose a knight, whatever. I'll come in with my queen, defend here, threatening all kinds of checkmates. Yeah, and now I'm going to look for checkmate. So we have a queen and we have a bishop that can put the king in check. So let's think. We can go here. No, because you have to move your king here. And now I'm looking if I have checkmate. Check. The king's going to run. So I don't really like how it's going to like start running away. So let me see if I go here instead. So now, boom, 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 boom. Okay, so this case, the king has to run backwards. That looks probably better. I can also just take the rook. That's really good. Now, it's not checkmate. Let's keep looking. How about here? Check. King has to go back. Let me see. Check. King has to go over. Check. They have to block. Checkmate. Okay? So, like, if you're playing this game, there's nothing wrong with going here, taking the rook, and just winning in, like, 10 moves from now. But I like to, especially if you have time, I like to actually just try to be as accurate as you can. It's good practice. It's good for your calculation skills. Not every game are you going to be up so much material. Like sometimes you had to sacrifice to get into a position. You might be down material and you might have to find a checkmate or you don't win, right? That's very common. So rather than just like, oh, let's go here and take a rook, well, see if there's a checkmate. And I did just find the checkmate. So let's play the checkmate line that I just mentioned. So check. What was the line actually? Didn't I find a checkmate? Did I just play the wrong move? Check, check. Oh, I calculated. No, check here. Well, I thought I had a checkmate. Maybe did I miscalculate something? Did I say the wrong line? Well, maybe I was looking at this. Maybe I was looking at that. Okay, let's go here. I think I still see a potential checkmate. I must have miscalculated. I'll have to go back and watch the video, see what I said, because I think this might still be a checkmate. Let's see. Here or here. Let's go here. What I'm trying to set up is if they run back this way, then we can go with the checkmate here. If they do this, that's actually a smart move. Let's go check here. Keep attacking the king. I kind of messed this up. My apologies. I thought I saw a checkmate. I think I just miscalculated something. The point still stands. Like, try to find checkmate, work on your calculation skills, try not to make mistakes like I did. I don't actually remember what I miscalculated, but anyway, I'll just move faster so I don't lose on time. But okay, this looks like so that's checkmate if they take my bishop. If they try to run, it's not quite checkmate. So we'll probably go here, threatening a new checkmate. And if that still doesn't work, probably have to bring in more pieces. Or maybe I should have just gone for the free rook like I saw earlier that I didn't want to take. Yeah, okay, let's do this. So there's the checkmate now. So I think they have to... Actually, how do they stop that? Rook f7, just give me the rook. If you try to run, it's still checkmate. If you try to run, it's still checkmate. Yeah, so I guess they have to go here. And I'll just take it. I'll just take the rook at this point, I think. We'll see. Stockfish will tell us what the checkmate was. I'm sure there was a faster checkmate. I probably just messed it up. Okay, so only move rook f7 to prolong the game. See if they're going to do that. They do. Okay, so we'll just take it and probably just go back, and then the checkmate will be unstoppable. Actually, that's checkmate, isn't it? So you can't run, can't run, you can't run, you can't block because the knight's pinned. That's just checkmate. Okay. So we did get it. Let's take a look and see if we missed anything there. Okay, so pretty good accuracy. Let's take a look. So yeah, like I said, against this bishop f5 line, I recommend the queen f3 move. It's very tricky. They have to play knight d6. And even there, I like to sacrifice my bishop and lure the king out because the knight can't take because you take the bishop. So, and then you can play g4 to get your piece back, and there's some other tricky stuff there, but that's how I like to play. They fell for our trap. And remember, I was analyzing both of these moves. Stockfish as queen takes f5 is not nearly as good because knight d6. Like I said, right, it just kind of holds everything together. And after I move somewhere, they can take here. So the way to do it is sacrifice the bishop, which we did. And if they would have taken, this is what was going to happen. They could play knight f6. But like I said, knight f3 hits the queen. Queen moves somewhere. And then we still get to attack with our knight or even with our bishop. We can castle either way. They cannot castle. Very big deal. Even though we're not up a piece, this is a bad situation for black, right? So that's what could have happened, but instead they went here. Stockfish, okay, so bishop e3, not the best move. Stockfish actually did want me to take the bishop right away. Let them take here. Queen a5 check, and then take this back. Okay, so Stockfish wanted to trade. Yeah, no, I mean, I personally like my line better from a practical standpoint. Let's see, Stockfish said they had queen f6, and I guess... Why don't I just take it? Oh, because they get a piece. Oh, interesting. So they attack my bishop. Ah, so okay. So my move actually did let them sneak away and not lose a piece if they would have noticed queen f6. That is why Stockfish said I needed to take the piece. Okay, I understand. All right, so back to the game. They went here. We captured. We pinned it. We captured. We captured. We captured. They went here. Yeah, there is checkmate after queen e6. And it was queen d6. Oh, is this what I calculated and then I forgot to play? Yeah, queen d6 is a forced mate. So is bishop g5. They're both forced. The move here is queen e5, so that if the king tries to run, you play b4. So you're threatening this checkmate. And now the bishop comes back. They can't escape here. And this is now checkmate. Okay. Okay, so I missed a few details, but we were still on the right track. And then even this is very good for us. Yeah, I could have done it a little faster, but all right. You get the idea. Let's go to the next game. Okay, let's play e4 again. Okay. So I don't like playing chess when I'm surprised, right? If you're playing an opening that you are uncomfortable with, that your opponent has studied, it's going to be tough. It's just going to be tough. Like, they're going to know more than you are. You're going to, like, you have to be really, really careful. You don't fall for some traps. So what I like to do is flip it as quickly as I can, right? So they play something on me that's surprising. I play something that's surprising to them. What is this? This is called a Tennison Gambit. And you can, if you really like the Tennison Gambit, you can actually play knight f3 first. And then when they play d5, you can play e4. If you're an e4 player and you don't know what to do against the Scandinavian, well, you can play the Tennison Gambit now by playing knight f3. Now, why are we doing this? Well, we're going to bring our knight over here. Actually, I think it was the last rating climb, or maybe, yeah, I'm pretty sure it was the last rating climb. We played the Budapest Gambit, where we caught him in a trap right away. The Tennison Gambit is the same thing, except with white. So usually they defend with the knight. This is a little bit strange with the bishop. I'm going to attack it again. Actually, hold on. So I could attack again, or I can play that. No, I think we should attack it again. So we're going to threaten to take. They're probably going to go knight f6. No, they're just going to let me take it. Okay. Well, we'll take our pawn back then. Unfortunately, we didn't get to go for some crazy trap, but that's fine. We just take our pawn back and be happy. It's really fun when they try to hold on to the pawn. That's where it gets interesting. But yeah, in this case, we just recapture. Okay, so if they take this knight, we can recapture with this knight. If they take this knight, we can recapture with this knight. So we're fine. If we play d4, though, and put ourselves into a pin, we're not fine. We would lose a piece. So that's what we have to watch out for. So it's kind of an annoying move. So I think what I'm going to do is get rid of this pressure on my knight by just playing here. This way, I'll just recapture. Now I don't have to worry about my knight getting captured, and I do it with tempo. They're probably going to have to save their bishop. Otherwise, I get the bishop pair, right? And so if they do save their bishop, yeah, it gives me time to, let's just say, play d4. Other option is to go after the bishop. No, let's play d4. We want to get the pieces out, so we want to make sure we do that quickly. And so I think d4 is the way. Now we can bring out the bishop, maybe. Okay, let's go here. And if they take this pawn, they actually blundered their queen. Can you guys see how? If they would have taken here, why is that a queen blunder? That's correct. Bishop to b5 check unleashes our queen on their queen. And even if they play knight c6, trying to defend, it doesn't actually defend because the knight would be pinned. So we would simply just take their queen for free. So they did avoid that. But I'll just go ahead and castle. It's still there. The same trap is still there. If they want to take the pawn now, we would still win the queen. Oh! So they probably didn't see it before. And then they're like, oh, I missed a free pawn. And now we're going to do the same thing I just said. Win the queen. Check. And there you go. There you go. They're probably going to go here, and I'm going to take the queen. Now, if they go here and I try to trade the knight, that's a big mistake because they could recapture with the knight and defend. But they just okay. So we caught him with the little trap. You got to watch out for that one. Yeah. I mean, what else can I say? All right, since that wasn't much of a game, I'll just spend a minute explaining to you what I was hoping we would get with the Tennison Gambit. So the common trap here is knight f6. We play d3. They don't want to let us take the pawn back, so they take. This knight's really annoying, so they play h6. Oh, no! Knight takes f7. They've fallen for the trap. Check. We unleash. So the same, we saw that actually this trap in the game, but in a different way, right? Where I went over here with the bishop, hit the queen, took the queen here. I'm doing it like this, and I'm taking the queen this way. So that's the common trap. We saw it in the Budapest Gambit, and it's the same thing in the Tennison Gambit. So keep that in your back pocket against the Scandinavian. Okay. Let's see. I have time for another game. All right. Okay. So, I mean, let's just see if we can do the same thing. So we'll play knight f6. And if they play c4, okay. So if they played c4, we could have played the Budapest Gambit, which would have been the exact same trap idea. Against knight f3, we can't do it. So we have to change up our strategy. So let's play maybe like a King's Indian setup. So King's Indian setup, what is that? We're going to fianchetto our bishop over here. So let's do that. And they want to play e4. Now, in a normal King's Indian setup, you would let them do that. You would play like g6, bishop g7, and then you would play d6. However, since they're trying to do it and they haven't pushed their pawn to c4, it's usually better to stop them. And here's why. Normally in these d4 openings, they'll put this pawn on c4 right away. And if I try to go g6 and d5, they'll just take me, and then they'll push e4 and get a huge big center. That's called the Grunfeld. And you can play that way, but it's very tricky. You have to know what you're doing. There's lots of theoretical stuff. When they play knight c3, they're trying to get a quick e4, but now when I play d5, they kind of have a problem, because you would really like to go here, but you can't, because you've blocked it with your knight, which is kind of like a no-no. When you play these d4 openings, you're not supposed to do this. You're not supposed to block this, right? Now, there are openings where you do it, and you can figure out ways around that, but it's not ideal for white, and that is why d5 is such a nice move to say, nope, you can't play e4, you can't play c4. How are you going to put pressure on the center? Because if white can't put any pressure on the center early, black basically just equalizes and says, thank you very much, I'm happy with the game, right? So that's kind of what's going on. Okay, so they go e3. Yeah, so we shouldn't have too much problems in this opening. We just develop our pieces. White can't really put pressure on us. We have nothing to worry about, right? A castle. They're probably going to castle. Yeah. Okay, and now it's a question of how do we want to develop our pieces. And actually, we can play c5, and I think I'm going to do it and start putting some pressure on their position, which is nice, right? And I'm going to be able to get my knight behind the pawn. Ooh, wow, that seems questionable. I don't know why. Just have a feeling about it. So it looks like, let's see, takes. Can I just win a pawn, I guess is my initial idea. If they take with the bishop, they'd have to give up the bishop pair. The other way to do it is take here first, then play like e5 to make the knight move, and then d4 and have a really big center. So takes, and I win the bishop pair. That's pretty good. Takes. Actually, no, I actually just win a pawn. What am I even saying? I don't just win the bishop pair, I win a pawn. Yeah, I think they just blundered a pawn. So we're going to take it. We're going to just take a free pawn. I mean, why not? Let me just verify. Takes, or I could even just take right away. Let them take me if they want. Yeah, I think I will. I'll make the trade, and I'll take here. So that's what I'm talking about, right? Like, it's not that easy for white to just attack in the center if you don't get that c4 pawn push earlier. And so now the way that they've done it, they had to just give up a pawn. And they don't really get any compensation for that except you're just down a pawn, right? Which is not ideal. So, and you could see this was possible because I put the pressure on the center with c5. If I didn't have my pawn on c5, well, then they probably could have gone here and they wouldn't have lost a pawn. And if you're wondering, if they take me, the problem with taking, let me go back. This is important you understand this. The problem with taking is, number one, my bishop now is very powerful. They have to be extremely careful. Number two, usually you can almost always get your pawn back whenever you want it. For example, I can play queen a5 and take the pawn back. And what are they going to do to stop me? Nothing. The other thing is you can just ignore it for a little bit, play knight c6 and e5 and just get a huge center and just leave it there. And then, like I said, take it later with queen a5 if you want. So it's not usually a big concern. Okay, bishop f4. I think I'm just going to bring out my knight, threatening e5. If they take me, I'm pretty happy because I get the bishop pair. Exactly what I'm going to do. Because if they take me, not only do I get the bishop pair, I get another pawn towards the center that I can use to support. Okay, so they're going to let me go with this. All right, so here's what I'm thinking. I would love to be able to push this, chase the bishop back, this, chase that back, and get a fork. The issue, I guess, is that they would take me, but that's not really an issue. I'm happy with that. So I think I'm going to go here. I think I'm going to go there. Now, if I played e5 first, they could take, and then I actually lose a pawn, it looks like. Yeah, so I think I do need to go here first. They're going to trade. They do have rook e1, which would stop me from getting that in. Do I still like my position? Because I do have another way to do it. The other way I could do it is something like queen b6 and try to bring my rook over, or even just pin this knight, and then it's easier to play e5. Takes, rook e1. This is just a little weak. There's just a little weakness in my position. I don't know if you guys can notice that, but this is kind of a committal move. That's why I'm just hesitating a bit. Yeah, in fact, I kind of have a feeling like maybe I shouldn't do that. I'm going to go queen b6. I like this. This looks like an annoying pawn for white to deal with, because normally you would want to push maybe to stop this. But guess what? Now you have to watch out for tactics with the bishop, right? So I think that's a good place to start. And then I think I'll just follow up with my bishop coming out. Bring the rooks to the center. Well, I'll show you after the game what I was afraid of with f5, and you'll maybe understand the weaknesses that I was talking about. But for now, let's just go with this plan. So, okay, rook b1, very awkward move for white. Like, yes, you defend your pawn, but do you really want your rook sitting there guarding a pawn? Like, probably not. I'm going to go bishop g4. Unless f5 now makes more sense. Rook e1. No, I think we still do the same thing. We go here. And we're just going to, probably just trade. And yes, I give them the bishop pair, but I really needed that bishop to get out of the way so that my rooks can come over and start causing some problems. And now I can play e5. And now if I play f5 and e4, it seems much more powerful because I get this beautiful pawn chain. I get this big center. And if they have to give this up, that's fine. I can still play e4 next move. This is very different than the other line where I was going to try to do this. So I'll show you guys after the game the difference. Let's play f5. And yeah, there's a check, but we just move. King is actually very safe. Okay, they didn't go for it. Take with the pawn. And now, like I said, I'm going to be able to play e4, and this is great. In the other position, my pawn was going to be stuck back here. Well, yeah, I'll explain it at the end. Okay, so we're going to play e4. We're going to get both rooks here, and then, I mean, this is just amazing. We even have the extra pawn here we can put. Yep, look at that. Oh, they have a sneaky tactic. Check. Look at that. They wanted to trick me. You guys see that? They wanted to trick me. I almost fell for it too. Okay, well, I guess we just move then. I guess we just move. Ah, you know what? I think I missed a move, guys. I missed a move. You know what I should have played? I should have played e4. Kick the queen away. Then I could play c5 and with the tempo on the bishop. Yeah, actually, that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to go here, and now I can threatening c5. I guess they have queen b3 check, but still, we'll still just put the king in the corner. But now this is a big deal. You see the difference between these rooks, by the way? Like my rook is kind of defending a pawn, but it's also threatening to help support push this pawn. And it's controlling like a bunch of nice center squares. This rook is doing nothing. You're not going to push this pawn down the board. You're not controlling any important central squares. Like very big difference between this rook and that rook. Hope you guys can understand that. All right, c5. So now they have to go back again. Probably just bring this rook over. Everything is just so beautiful in my position. Look at all the squares that these rooks are controlling, right? This is amazing. This is amazing. The queen's controlling this. The bishop's controlling this. I've got like the entire board controlled here. And white can't do anything about it. Okay, so what should I do? With everything that I just said, what should the best move be in this position? Without even thinking much. Push by. Keeps the rook shut out. Keeps the bishop shut out. Oh, and guess what? Now I have 3 pawns ready to go. And I'm about to go here and gain some more space. And I'm about to go here and gain some more space. And I'm about to go here and get a fork. And I'm about to go here and get a queen. You see how that works? As opposed to if I take... Now his rook is coming in and his rook is attacking, or maybe his bishop is coming in. Like, very easy decision for me, right? Push the pawn. Yeah, he's trying, but it's just way too slow. And I think, like I said, I'm just going to keep rolling these pawns down the board. This is so beautiful. We're about to have one of the most amazing pawn chains known to man here. Let's see. So if we push, he takes, I take, he trades. There's a random check here. And I would actually lose a pawn. So, takes, check. You guys see that? There's a fork. I would lose this pawn because my rook had been pulled over. Now, actually, king goes there, takes, check. Almost still fine. Maybe I go bishop here first. So then we have a back rank thing going on. And then we can push. Actually even stops the trade. Yeah, let's do that. So we're going to go here. The point is just to avoid that little tactic that I just mentioned. And now if I push, I'm trying to get a situation where I have these 2 connected pawns and white can't take them. Because if that happens, game over. I'm going to win. They're going to be able to push and get a queen or something. As long as I don't fall for that little cheapo tactic, there's no way black's going to be able to stop these guys. Sorry, white's going to be able to stop these guys. Okay. He goes there. Doesn't really bother me. I think we just push. Yep, I think we just push. And then we get the pawns, like I mentioned. Almost looks like a tactic. Takes. But no, it's defended by my queen. And there's no way white can stop these guys. There's just no way. Okay. Sometimes you can even sack your queen in these situations. Like, I'm almost wondering, is now a time where I can just, like, leave it and push and push? So if I push, he takes. I push, takes, like, ooh. Maybe I could, but just to make sure I don't lose onto some craziness, I'm just going to come over here, save my queen, and then I'll push them. But sometimes you can actually just do that. There was a lot to calculate, and I only have a minute and a half, so I didn't want to risk losing the game because I miscalculated something there. But sometimes that's an easy way to win. But in this case, we'll just do it like this. Obviously, these pawns are just unstoppable at this point. And so just have to figure out the right way to push them. Okay, he takes. Probably doesn't even matter. I'm going to start with this guy. And then next I'll go here. As long as you can push both of them, it doesn't really matter usually. That's just a free rook. So we'll just take it. But even without the free rook, even if they would have traded, it doesn't matter. This is game over. Yeah, and they do resign. Okay, so this is going to be interesting. Just I'll show you what I was talking about. Because I think if you understand this, it's going to help you a lot in the positional sense. Okay, so first things first, you know, if you can get d5 in here, if they block their c pawn, you should probably do it. Next thing, c5. Yeah, very good way to put pressure on the center. They just blundered a pawn here. We just take it and we win a pawn. Easy. what I was showing you guys here was if I play f5, okay, if they go back, I'm really happy because now I can play e5, the bishop has to move. Oops, sorry. Bishop has to move, and then I get a fork. I win a piece. Or actually, I don't win a piece because of the check. But even so, it's super awkward for this knight. Oh, actually, I do win a piece. I win this piece. Anyway, okay. The point is, if you can get this beautiful pawn chain, I'm really happy, right? What I was concerned about was that when I played f5, and yes, see, Stockfish doesn't like it because they're going to take, they're going to play rook e1, and now I can't go e5. And they just take me. They have 3 pieces. I only have 1 defender. Why, you say, why is that a big deal? Because without my pawn here or here to support this guy's not nearly as strong. Also, this pawn chain is not really helping support the center because I can never get my pawn up there where I need it to be. And all of these squares are kind of now under white's control. For example, let's say I play c5 to support this. I always have to watch out for things like this. If a knight lands here. Now, Stockfish says it's bad because it allows me to play e5. There's a tactic. But let's just say hypothetically I couldn't play e5. I play some other random move. Boom. This is a huge weakness in my position. Even if okay, let's play a better move, bishop d7. It's still a huge weakness in my position. Maybe the rook is going to land here. And I attack it. Now the queen is supporting this. And I try to go here and this just annoying battery. Do you guys see the difference? It's a subtle thing, but the fact that the pawn is back here on e7, as opposed to what happened in the game, let's go back to the game, where I was able to get it up here on e4, or even just on e5, it's fine. It's so much better for me. Because now, instead of white controlling, if my pawn was here, white controlled all of these squares. Like imagine if there's a rook here, right? Instead of them controlling all of them, I control all of them. Because my rook is the one behind the pawn instead of theirs. That's critical. Like it's a small thing, but it makes a huge difference that you understand that, okay? And so, yeah, I mean, Stockfish agrees with me back in this position. It says f5 is not a good move. Sorry, not this position. This position. It says f5 is not a good move because of what I just said. They're going to take and they're going to gain control of this with either queen e2 or rook e1. And I don't have a good position. It likes queen b6. It liked bishop g4, just getting out of the way so that my rooks can come over and support these pawns. Yeah, it liked that a lot. Now e5, f5. And I'm totally winning. And it's just a matter of time before I can push these pawns down. And white's not going to be able to stop me unless I like blunder something, right? Okay, guys. I hope that's helpful. Make sure you subscribe, turn on the notification bell. I know a lot of people have been saying that they haven't seen some of my videos showing up. So I don't know if it's I think YouTube's changed some things with the algorithm. So if you want to be notified, you might have to turn on the bell and say, hey, I want to be notified for this channel when they release videos. Anyway, see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Stay sharp, play smart, take care.